Towering trees crowded the landscape. Some were familiar, like the ginkgos with fan-shaped leaves. Others were bizarre, like the araucaria, with stiff, prickly needles. The air itself hummed with activity. Insects buzzed among the flowers. Strange, chirping creatures hopped from leaf to leaf, and the earth rumbled with the steps of something much larger. In T's world, the dinosaurs reigned supreme. These were not your typical Jurassic giants. Think of the meat-eaters. The tyrant lizard king, T-Rex, stalked the land with terrifying grace. Its roar echoed across the ice-free plains. Tall as a house, it was a predator sculpted for power. But size alone doesn't tell the whole story. The Tyrannosaurus also had one of the strongest bites of all time, capable of crushing bone with ease. So, if you saw one of these approaching, there was nowhere to hide. But not all dinosaurs were built to chase and tear. Some were gentle giants. The Titan sauropod, Argentinaurus, weighed more than 100 tons. Its neck alone was 12 meters long. These dinosaurs were the true Antarctic aristocrats, commanding respect and fear in equal measure. Beneath their armored hides, these titans roamed, plucking leaves from the tallest trees, shaping the landscape with each step they took. Their sheer scale made them seem invincible, but they weren't. Life in this harsh world demanded adaptation, and some dinosaurs simply didn't adapt fast enough. One such creature was the Cryolophosaurus, nicknamed the Elvis dinosaur, named for its distinctive tall frill. This predator was perfectly suited to the dim, oil summer sun, but when the continent started to freeze, its body wasn't ready. It perished, along with many others, becoming part of the very ice age it had once ruled. What happened to the once mighty Cryolophosaurus? Like so many of its contemporaries, its remains ended up as fossils, a silent testament to a world lost. If you ventured further into this frozen wasteland, you'd come across a sight straight out of a nightmare. Towering above the dinosaurs, sometimes reaching heights of 30 meters, were the gymnosperm trees. These ancient conifers dominated the landscape. They were the true masters of the frozen south, their roots anchoring them deep into the chilling earth. Their branches, heavy with cones, reached towards the sky, bearing witness to a million seasons. But amidst these silent giants, there was movement. Strange beasts scuttled through the undergrowth. Small proto-wombats munched on vegetation, while curious ancestors of modern-day turtles basked in the dim sunlight. Despite the chill, life persisted. The sun may have been weaker now, but life always finds a way to adapt. And so it was, in this twilight world, that the age of the dinosaurs drew to a close. Antarctica, once a land of warmth and plenty, was changing. The climate, driven by slow tectonic shifts and the whims of the Earth's axis, was growing colder. With each passing million years, the forests receded, replaced by hardy shrubs and grasses. The dinosaurs, unable to adapt to the biting winds and dwindling food supply, met their end, leaving behind only their bones and a legacy that would last for eons. And yet, even in this frozen world, life endured. Strange mammals, furry and small, scurried in the shadows of the ice. Wombats, ancestors of the modern species, grazed on sparse vegetation. Seals barked as they hauled themselves onto the rocky shores, each creature a testament to resilience. But as the ice tightened its grip, Antarctica became less hospitable. Whole ecosystems collapsed. Species that couldn't withstand the relentless cold migrated north, seeking warmer climates. The continent became a frozen desert, and the survivors were few. The world you once knew, the green forests, the dinosaurs, the bustling wildlife, all gone, replaced by a chilling silence. The Earth had changed, and Antarctica with it. You are standing on the threshold of a new era, an age of ice and solitude. The dinosaurs are gone, and you are left in a world that is both hauntingly beautiful and utterly alien. As you gaze out across the icy expanse, you wonder what secrets lie beneath the ice, what wonders might still exist in this frozen wasteland. For Antarctica has a story to tell, a tale of giants and glaciers, of extremes and endurance. And you can't help but feel that you've only just begun to uncover it. But now, the ice has truly taken over. Nothing moves except the winds and the drifting snow. This is Antarctica today, a vast kingdom of ice and silence. But beneath the ice, perhaps there's still a memory of what once was, a whisper of the green world that lived and breathed before the eternal winter descended. All that's left now is the howling wind and the ghosts of giants. But in the silence, if you listen closely, you might hear the echoes of a lost world, the haunting melody of Antarctica before it froze. Did you enjoy the video? Then check out more content. In the heart of Antarctica, beneath thousands of years of ice, lies a secret world, a world of towering forests and thundering dinosaurs. Here's what Antarctica was really like before the ice. Towering trees formed a dense green canopy overhead. Forests of conifers and ginkgo trees reached toward the sky. Their roots wove through the earth, anchoring them against the strong Antarctic winds. The trunks of the trees were covered with strange, beautiful markings. Mosses and lichens clung to the damp bark, giving it a soft, velvety feel. Patches of sunlight managed to break through the dense canopy, illuminating the forest floor in emerald light. There, amid the towering trees, ferns carpeted the ground in shades of green, their fronds unfurled, creating a lush, almost magical carpet. Strange flowering plants, some among the earliest in Earth's history, bloomed in these sunlit glades, their petals, delicate and strange, held tight to the forest floor, clinging to life in this ancient world. But the air was heavy here, thick with moisture and alive with sound. The air buzzed with the wings of gigantic dragonflies. They zipped and zoomed between the trees, their wings beating the air like drums. Their wingspans were wider than your hand, and they ruled the skies like tiny helicopters, darting and weaving effortlessly. Below them, strange and wonderful beasts moved. The forest echoed with the rustle of small, quick mammals. These early mammals were the size of small rodents, quick and clever, and always on the lookout for danger. They scurried through the undergrowth, their keen eyes scanning for predators, their sensitive ears twitching at the slightest sound. They lived in a world where danger lurked around every corner. For here in these forests, Antarctica's most fearsome inhabitants, reigned. The true masters of this prehistoric world were the dinosaurs. Among the trees, shadows moved, massive, clawed, and hungry. These were the theropods, relatives of the fearsome Tyrannosaurus. Some were small, wolf-sized hunters that hunted in packs. Others were colossal, ape predators that could bring down almost anything in their path. Imagine walking through this prehistoric forest and hearing the crack of branches behind you. A moment later, a predator like Cryolophosaurus, Antarctica's frozen crested lizard, emerges, though discovered beneath ice. In its time, it was no frozen relic. It was alive, dangerous, and armed with serrated teeth built to slice through flesh. At over 20 feet long, Cryolophosaurus would have been the nightmare of its ecosystem. Swift, powerful, and utterly merciless. And yet, it was not alone. Smaller predators roamed too, agile hunters that darted through forests, their intelligence and coordination making them just as lethal. But life in the forest wasn't just about being quick. It was also about being big. The theropods shared their world with giants, herbivorous dinosaurs that dwarfed even the tallest trees. In the open clearings and along the riversides, great herds of plant eaters grazed. Some were armored giants, ankylosaurs, with plates of bone across their backs and tails tipped with brutal clubs, ready to smash the legs of anything that dared attack. Others were graceful sauropods, long-necked behemoths that towered above the treetops, stripping leaves with every bite. Fossils also revealed the presence of iguanodonts and hadrosaurs, duck-billed dinosaurs that lived in herds, their numbers providing protection against the predators lurking nearby. But life for these herbivores was never peaceful. Every river crossing meant risk. Every trip to drink could mean ambush. The shadow of Cryolophosaurus, or worse, was never far away, and yet they endured. Herds thundered across the land, shaping the very forests they fed upon. Where they moved, ecosystems shifted. Antarctica was not a wasteland. It was a stage of giants, predators and prey, locked in an eternal dance of survival. while the towering dinosaurs and marine monsters dominated the spotlight. The stage of ancient Antarctica was never theirs alone. Crawling through the undergrowth were insects, beetles, ants, and early relatives of today's dragonflies. They were small, but their presence shaped ecosystems. Every fallen leaf became food for them. Every bloom of a flower depended on that pollination. Then there were the mammals, not the massive ones we know from the Ice Age, but tiny, rodent-like pioneers. They lived in the shadows, quick and cautious, darting out only when the coast was clear. Some burrowed underground to avoid predators. Others climbed trees, testing niches that one day their descendants would dominate. Even birds soared above the forests. They were the descendants of small theropods that had already taken to the skies. Some would have been hunters, others scavengers, and still others seed-eaters, spreading plant life across the land. Together, these smaller creatures were the silent architects of ancient Antarctica, keeping the wheels of the ecosystem turning. But Antarctica, even before the ice, was never an easy place to live. For those who dared to dream of a gentler existence, the icy winds carried tales of a harsher reality, a world where mighty creatures roamed and where survival was a daily battle. Yet life found a way to not just survive, but to thrive in the face of all the challenges that this ancient land threw its way. Because Antarctica's story is not just about its icy present, it is about the fiery past that birthed a continent and the tenacious life that refused to be deterred. Welcome to my channel. When you think of dinosaurs, you probably imagine a hot, dry desert. But what if I told you some of these ancient reptiles lived in the South Pole? Despite its current state as an icy wasteland, Antarctica wasn't always frozen. For over 200 million years, the continent was covered in lush forests, teeming with life. However, this environment posed unique challenges for its inhabitants. The continente's location so close to the pole meant that it experienced extreme variations in sunlight and temperature. During the summer, the sun shone relentlessly, day after day, creating a perpetual state of daylight. This must have been quite disorienting for creatures accustomed to the rhythm of day and night. Imagine trying to sleep in the middle of summer with the sun blazing right through your window. It would be impossible to get any rest. On the other hand, as the Earth tilted away from the sun during the winter, Antarctica plunged into months of darkness. The sun simply didn't rise, leaving the land shrouded in an eerie gloom. Temperatures plummeted and the forest came to a standstill, as if nature herself were holding her breath. Just imagine walking through a forest floor, carpeted with snow. The trees around you stand like silent sentinels, their branches bare and reaching towards a sky that has forgotten the sun. Such conditions demand extraordinary measures for survival. Some dinosaurs may have migrated, traveling north for the warmer seasons, while others adapted to the relentless cold and darkness. But how could they have possibly endured such harsh conditions? Well, recent research suggests that some dinosaurs may have slowed their metabolisms down to incredibly low levels, entering a state known as torpor. Picture a dinosaur, perhaps something akin to a small feathered raptor, huddling among the snow-covered rocks, its body temperature dropping, its heartbeat slowing, barely a flicker of life left in its eyes. All around it, the forest sleeps. This might seem like a strange survival tactic, but when faced with extreme conditions, even the mightiest creatures must consider lowering their energy expenditure to match the scarcity of resources. But it wasn't just the darkness and cold they had to deal with. Antarctica's climate was also prone to sudden, drastic changes. Volcanic activity wasn't uncommon, blanketing the land in ash and forcing animals to flee or perish. Additionally, shifts in sea level altered coastlines, sometimes inundating areas that were once dry land and at other times exposing vast stretches of land that were previously submerged. Imagine a volcanic eruption casting a dark cloud over the landscape. The ground trembling beneath your feet as molten rock and ash spew forth from the earth. The air grows thick with the smell of sulfur, making it hard to breathe. You feel a burning sensation in your eyes, and you couldn't help but think this is one natural disaster you would unwant to be caught out in the open. Then picture the receding waters, revealing a new landmass, or perhaps swallowing the ground beneath your feet, leaving you stranded in a sea of water. These constant changes kept Antarctica in a state of flux, a land of extremes where only the most adaptable could thrive. Yet despite these challenges, Life flourished in this harsh environment. Forests stretched as far as the eye could see, providing habitats and sustenance to countless creatures. There were the herbivores, the gentle giants, and smaller, more agile species that navigated the undergrowth. Their teeth and digestive systems adapted to break down tough vegetation. Then there were the carnivores, the apex predators that ruled the skies, the land and the seas around Antarctica. These dinosaurs, much like their relatives elsewhere on Earth, were built for speed and power, their bodies streamlined for chasing down prey. However, these predators didn't solely depend on raw power. Many had developed sophisticated hunting strategies, utilizing teamwork and intelligence to surround and capture their prey. It was a constant struggle for survival, a never-ending game of cat and mouse played out against the backdrop of an eternally shifting landscape. Then everything changed. About 66 million years ago, Antarctica, along with the rest of the dinosaurs, experienced an abrupt and violent end. A massive asteroid roughly 6 miles wide hurtled towards the Earth, eventually slamming into what is now the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico. The impact unleashed an unimaginable catastrophe on a global scale. The asteroid's impact triggered earthquakes, tsunamis, and wildfires. But the most significant consequence was the dust and ash that rose into the atmosphere, blotting out the sunlight and plunging the Earth into darkness. Photosynthesis ceased, plants withered, and the intricate balance of life that depended on them collapsed. The age of dinosaurs, which had lasted for over 165 million years, came to a screeching halt. As the Nanavian dinosaurs went extinct, the stage was set for new life to emerge. Mammals emerged from the shadows, slowly taking their first steps towards dominating the land. Antarctica, freed from the grip of its icy past, drifted southward, eventually to become the frozen desert we know today. Today, when we gaze upon Antarctica's barren landscapes, it's hard to fathom the vibrant world that once thrived there. Yet the fossils hidden beneath the ice tell a tale of a bygone era when dinosaurs roamed the South Pole. Life on Antarctica wasn't easy. It was a constant battle against the elements. But these dinosaurs found a way to not just survive, but to flourish. They adapted to the extremes, finding a balance in the darkness and cold. Their story is a testament to the tenacity of life, a reminder that no matter how harsh the environment, life finds a way to not just exist. So next time you hear about dinosaurs, remember to picture them basking in the midnight sun, hunting under the endless twilight, enduring the eternal winter. Remember the dinosaurs of Antarctica, the true survivors of the South Pole.